Hello, everyone, and welcome to the United Real Estate Capital Mortgage Market Sample for June 22nd, 2022. These are going to normally take about 3.5 to 5 minutes. This one's going to take probably about 9 to 11 minutes because this is a new format that I'm introducing, so I'm going to explain some things along the way. I'm doing this new format because I want to arm you with some of the same information that we use to get an idea of what's going on. And what I mean, folks like myself who've been doing mortgages for the last 20 something years, 24 years for myself. So I actually track more than this, but these are some of the same things that I track. And one of my sayings that I constantly repeat is that the best time to shop for a mortgage is when you don't need one. Coming up on the next evolution of this housing and mortgage market are going to be price dips. And we're not going to see anything crazy like a year ago, but there are going to be some dips that could save you anywhere between, literally, this is not an exaggeration, $4,000 to $7,000 or more. Problem with these dips is that they are dips. They're not going to last long. So especially as we transition into this buyer's market on the real estate side of the house. Now, rates pricing is a little bit inflated right now. Now remember, I always refer to it as rate pricing. If you can read this later, but remember, what you're shopping for are the fees, not the rates. You got to think of these rates in terms of stock prices. Like for example, we have a 3.5%, that still exists, but the price for 3.5% has jumped up to like $35,000, $40,000. Obviously, we're not going to advertise that. So keep that in mind. So in order to catch these price dips, you have to be paying attention to what's going on. Now, I've advised people of that over the years, but then I thought about it. I'm like, wow, people are busy. You have things going on. You have life going on. You don't have time to search all this crap like I've been advising. So that's why I want to put this all in one place for you, graph it out, so when the time comes, you'll be able to make a more informed buying decision. Let's jump right into it here. We're going to start off with actual mortgage rates. Now, these are the 30-year fixed rates for United Real Estate Capital, both VA and conventional. Now, the 0 points and zero lenders fees are obviously the ones that you see here. But if you've watched any of my other rate videos, you know there's probably about 22 other rate options. All because I'm showing the 0 points and zero lenders fees options doesn't mean I'm suggesting that's the best way to go. I've proven mathematically time and time again that paying some cost in many situations saves more money. Actually, I'm going to go so far as to say most situations, but you've got to run the numbers and see. You can't use generalities or rules of thumb to figure out which one of these rates is going to work best for you. You've got to run the numbers. If you can't run them, you just easily get somebody like me to run them for you, and we can let you know. So I could have put 1 point options or whatever, but I thought 0 point options and zero lenders fees options will make a good point of reference, and these are going to be on the graph. So as you see, we're just starting off here for the week of June 21st, so there's really nothing to graph yet. So these are the 30-year fixed, 0 points, zero lenders fees, rates and APRs. Oh, quick reminder for the APR here, notice how the rate and APR are the same. So if I had not put 0 points and zero lenders fees here, you would still know by looking at the rate and APR because they're the same. For the uninitiated, the APR is a tool, and this tool can be used for several things, one of which is to determine if there are fees associated with an advertised rate. This is the advertised rate on the left, this is the APR on the right. If the APR is higher than the advertised rate, that indicates fees associated with it. And the bigger the spread between the APR and the rate indicate more and more fees. For example, if the rate was 4.781 like it is, and the APR is say 4.99%, that indicates a lot of fees associated with the rate. So just wanted to give you that quick refresher on the APR. Let's go ahead and jump into the California single family residence median sold home price. Is this bananas or what? This is the median price. This is for real. 841,920 bananas. Equally bananas is the condominium medium sold price of 678,000. Next, we're going to come back to this. Next is the Freddie Mac primary market survey that they've been doing since 1974. This is the acronym for Freddie Mac, by the way, if you don't know. This is the Federal Home Loan Mortgage Corporation. That's their actual name, but when you use this acronym here, we came up with the short version Freddie Mac, or the nickname Freddie Mac. Same thing with Fannie Mae. Fannie Mae is the Federal National Mortgage Association. Their nickname is Fannie Mae. So here we go, Freddie Mac primary market survey. Now this survey is taken from participating lenders across the country, and this shows this is the one for the 30-year right here. So this is the average 30-year rate and points that were charged by participating lenders in the primary market survey. 5.78 with 0.9 points. Just as a quick refresher on points, 1 point is 1%. So this is just under 1 point. So if it were a full point, 1%, say for example on 600,000, that would be $6,000 in points. Now remember, these points might come along with, say, lender's fees on here. So, but these are the points showing the average points and the average rate in the survey here. This is published weekly, and I will publish it weekly for you. All right, down to a mortgage-backed securities, JPM sitting here. There are many out there. I just using this one. This is the symbol. If you want to throw it on your phone and check, this will be going to update it weekly. But if you want to check in between, then you can say on your cell phone if you want to throw that on there, and you'll be able to make note of the inverse relationship between these MBSs and these mortgage rates. You'll notice that the lower these go, the higher the mortgage rates go, and the higher these go, the lower the mortgage rates go. Now moving down here to the 10-year Treasury at 3.143. Again, I'm going to update this weekly, but this is something else that just jumps around all the time. You'll notice the relationship on this one. This is going to track right with the rates. So as the rates go up and up, so will this 10-year Treasury. And lastly here, the California single-family residence new housing starts in terms of units. So this is 6,041 units. Coming up on this next evolution of the housing and mortgage market, you're going to see this drop. You're also going to see these median home prices drop. This is normal. No need to panic. We're not going to have 2008 all over again. If you don't know, I'll refresh you about how 2008 was very artificial. It just didn't happen. We made it happen. 2008 was a culmination, a perfect storm of, let's just call it greed and irresponsible behavior amongst investment banks. I would say maybe greed and possibly irresponsible behavior amongst ratings agencies, greed and irresponsible behavior amongst large insurance companies. We're talking greed and fraud and irresponsible behavior amongst wholesale lenders, greed, fraud, irresponsibility amongst retail lenders and retail banks, greed and irresponsibility in the real estate side of the industry amongst the participants there. We were talking greed at title companies and irresponsibility and fraud, escrow companies, appraisers, credit services companies. Yes, the whole gang was in on it. And last but not least, consumers. Yeah, there were not a bunch of irresponsible, or I'm sorry, innocent consumers running around. They're in on the act too, between fraud, irresponsible behavior, and greed. And this is not even to mention the criminal activity that took place. But laws are put in place, and the criminal element is out of the industry. Lots of safety measures are put in place. This perfect storm is not going to be able to brew again. So no, you're not going to see that. But just to give you a heads up, when things start dropping down, you're gonna see it on the news and other places. Like for example, let's say this median house price, let's say, drops down to eventually 700,000, which is still bananas. But that's going to probably be presented in some outlet as, oh, median home sales plummet their lowest since whatever date. Just to, bad news, of course, attracts viewers. So they love putting that kind of crap out there. And unfortunately, you're going to see it in videos on the internet. It's going to happen, of course, on YouTube. You'll see these thumbnails with maybe flames and houses on fire, and they're sitting there like this in the thumbnail. Is this the end? Is this the crisis? No, there's no crisis. It's just a normal occurrence in the market, the normal cyclical occurrence. What goes up is going to come down, and we're going to transition over it into a buyer's market as far as the real estate side go. And do anticipate some lower rates. Things are inflated. Rate pricing is certainly inflated right now. That's going to go down. But I'm going to close with this. One of the primary reasons for creating this and giving you some of the tools that we use is, again, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, so you can be prepared. We're going to have these dips. It happens all the time. Every single time we're going to have these dips. Now, they're not going to be dips like a year ago. You're not going to see 2.875% with no cost anytime soon. But you will see dips that could save you, literally, I'm not exaggerating a bit, $4,000 to $7,000 in cost. Easily. That's going to happen. Thing is, they don't stay around long. And if you're sitting there waiting to hear it on the news or to see it somewhere pop up on the internet, you're going to be too late. These drops maybe last a few days to a week, and you have to stay abreast of this information to know. So when you see that, when you see it, you make your move and you can get that deal. All right. Contact information I'll put in the description of this video. The future ones will be a lot shorter than this one, but I gave you that warning ahead of time. I wanted to plus you up on how these are going to work, and I'll be tracking this graph, so this will help you make your decisions also after you see this all tracked out here in the weeks to come. Reach out to me if you have any questions either via email or a phone call, or if you want to throw some comments, feel free to do that, and I'll respond. Thank you for checking out this market sample, and we will look forward to seeing you on the next one. Well, next week.